as Morton mentioned, he asked me to go talk to journalists, and it's a funny thing. Journalists in our industry, they come in a lot of flavors. Some are working for organizations that are very journalistically trained. Who, what, where, when, how, just the facts. And others are very much industry cheerleaders. Their job and their publications' jobs are to help lift our industry and really be the people that we can go to hear the good stories. And I tried to do a little bit of a mix. I tried to talk to people who are about the facts and are not the cheerleaders, and I tried to talk to people who are the cheerleaders. So we had hoped to talk to people in the US. US journalists did not want to talk to me. Their publications were not sure that they wanted anything shared outside of their own publication. That's okay. So instead, I talked to my friend Alexia Rizzi in Italy. I talked to my friend Steph Gaddin and her new editor in Australia, Janet Maitland. I talked to Dan Brunton in the UK. And I talked to Tony Curcio in Canada. So you may know some of those names, you may not know all of them, you may know none of them, but they're all people that I know and people that I respect their opinions. So I asked everyone 5 questions. Unfortunately, because we delivered the video maybe later and on top of 9 million other things going on at INKISH, we don't have the video for you here, but it will be posted on INKISH TV. And I'm going to encourage you to go listen to how they express their view of the industry. We asked them what's the biggest story in printing in your part of the industry. And the answers were really kind of interesting. Dan Brunton out of the UK, you know, he's digital corrugated printing. Printing and packaging is his life. And his expression was that vendors weren't doing enough to educate those who buy packaging about the opportunities for short-run packaging, specialized packaging, embellishment in packaging, that they were too still concentrated on printing as little as possible on brown craft board. So he was disappointed in where the industry is right now. He feels like there's more to be done from an education standpoint. When I asked Tony Curcio out of Canada that same question, he covers a broader range of the graphic arts industry, and he said his big disappointment in the industry was that vendors were not educating the buyers about what was possible in the graphic arts market. He was bothered by the fact that book printers weren't taking advantage of the power of short-run printing to save money on warehousing. He was bothered by the fact that commercial printers weren't offering more information about how to work efficiently with embellished commercial print. He was worried about the fact that people were not producing the kind of print that he knew was possible because he'd been with all the vendors. He'd been with the hardware vendors and the software vendors and the printing companies. He knew what they were capable of, but he doesn't see it in his own mailbox and he doesn't see it on the store shelves. So, and Canadian point of view. So then when I talked to Alexia in Italy, I had spent a week with them at the Print for All event in Milan. And we had, you know, over 20,000 people there. And it was a good coming out party. And I said, okay, so, you know, what's the big story here? And she said, well, you know, Italy is the home of printing. If you know Italians, you know that point of view. And so I feel that Italians are doing it all right. You know, we have brand, I don't know if you know Brand Revolution Lab, the consortium of brand buyers who work together with the Stratego organization. No, we're doing it all right. Everything's fine. You know, we have the best equipment in the world. It's the most innovative. Everything's just fine, really. Now, we would like people to buy more. You know, we'd like them to be even more creative, but no, really, everything's fine. Good to know. And then finally, I went to the folks at, I just figured out it's my earring. Hold on. So then I talked to Australia. So I spent a week in Australia in the summer, their winter, at Pack Print, which is their coming out party, the first big show to happen in Australia. And I said, so what's the big story here? And they said, nobody's buying anything, nobody has any money, and we're not sure if they're going to shut us down again. So everybody's afraid to buy equipment. They're afraid to buy software. Their paper supplies are impossible to get. So my takeaway was, depending on where you are in the world, your experience in the coming out of print post-COVID is going to be a bit different. Everybody's very positive. Even the Australians, in a weird way, were very positive, but everyone's having a slightly different experience depending on where you are. So we said, well, what's the near term look like? Does it look like you're going to be able to survive? What do you think? And 201, everyone said yes. Everyone had a very positive attitude about the parts of the industry that they cover. But they said that the right sizing hasn't happened yet. That whether you're looking at digital packaging, digital print for packaging, or you're looking at graphic arts, commercial print, direct mail marketing in markets that support that, the right sizing hasn't happened yet. And even though we've seen quite a compression and consolidation among printing companies, we still haven't seen it all happen yet. We're not at the floor yet. There's still some work that's going to happen for printers to survive and to grow. There's still consolidation that's going to happen. And the people who are probably biting their fingernails the most are the hardware vendors who have to sell into this market that is compressing. Because as our machines get faster, as our finishing equipment gets faster, and as our printing devices get faster, you don't need as many of them to support the markets that remain. And that means we all have to be a whole lot more creative. And all of the journalists that I'm talking to are going, they just can't wait to see how they do that because they can't quite see the path forward. So finally, I asked them about print shows. Do print shows survive? We know we have Drupa coming up in 2024. As I mentioned, I was at Print for All, which next happens in 2025. Pack Print with the visual communications folks in Australia. They'll come back around in 2023 and do another edition of that in Sydney. Morton, as you know, was just at IGAS and looked at the lay of the land there. As a team, we were all at Printing United in Las Vegas not very long ago. It seems like all we've done the second half of the year is go from city to city to city and show to show to show. And the question is, well, how was it? Were there people there? Many of you asked me this question over the last day. Were people at Printing United? Did people go? And what I will tell you is, yes, there were people there. And yes, there were vendors there. And yes, commerce happened at the show. People bought, people asked questions, people saw demos. Nidhi was there. She was demoing the Designo and the design and buy stuff like crazy. Many of you were there. But I don't know that we're out of the woods yet, because all the shows that I'm going to, yes, people are coming to, but when we talk, when we do postmortems after the show with my vendor clients and with my printing company clients, they all kind of take a couple steps back, and everybody says, it's not the same. It's not as big as it was. There weren't as many people as I thought there would be. I thought I would have more leads. I thought I would have more interaction. The funny thing is, I'm not sure that they had less. I think the perception was it's just different. So as I asked everyone their final thoughts, 201, yes, we will be going to shows. We will take a stand at Drupa. We will take a stand at Printing United. We will take a stand at Print for All. We will take a stand at Pack Print. We will go to the print show. We'll get involved with Wayne. We might get more active with the online print shows. We'll be there, but we may do it smaller. Maybe we don't need the giant building size stand at a show to talk to our constituents. Maybe we need a smaller one. Maybe we need to be smarter about how we approach educating the market about our products. So that's what these guys are all looking for. They're watching to see how the vendors react to somewhat to the compression of the industry, but they're watching to see how we react in terms of getting people educated, because everyone knows supply chain challenges are not going to change. Labor issues are not going to magically get better over the next few years. If we don't start working at educating the next generations and bring them up to understand how to operate in changing conditions that we face in our industry and building that digital physical connection with print and digital communication, the jury is out on what happens next. Yeah, we'll get to Drupa 2024. Don't know about 2028. That's sort of where the attitude is right now. So that's the whole story. And hopefully you'll get a chance to see all the video. If you have any comments, questions, criticisms, just want to chat, I'm the easiest person on earth to find. Thanks, Martin. Yeah, Morton.
Thank you, Pat.